Hey, what is going on, guys? Danny here, welcome back to the channel, and I hope you've all been doing well. Well, today is September 17th, 2020, and like many of you, I woke up early in the morning, very early actually, because I just couldn't sleep, in order to secure myself an RTX 3080 graphics card. Reviews for the Founders Edition models came out yesterday, and for the most part, the RTX 3080 was received fairly well by the tech press and the PC hardware community. That is, if you can ignore some of the missed targets set by Nvidia's marketing or cherry-picked performance results, but nonetheless, the RTX 3080 showed performance improvements of around 60 to 70% on average at 4K, which is still a nice jump in performance over the RTX 2080 for 4K gamers out there. Now, I'll be making a separate video on a performance overview of the RTX 3080 and, what are my overall thoughts on the card. As this video, I'm going to be focusing on the chaotic and atrocities that erupted everywhere this morning regarding RTX 3080 sales. Like many of you, I was highly anticipating the RTX 3080 and woke up this morning in hopes of being able to snag one for myself, and so I could finally do some testing with Nvidia's next-gen Ampere graphics card and have a card that could drive my 4K OLED. However, this launch was just an absolute circus, and when I say launch, it couldn't be any closer to the definition of a paper launch. So first and foremost, since the Founders Edition cards were actually given very positive reviews for being able to tame such power-hungry GPUs by keeping them cool and running fairly quiet, they immediately became a priority choice for many enthusiasts and PC gamers looking to buy an RTX 3080. Usually with Founders Edition cards, it's recommended to avoid them since they would run hotter and louder than the AIB models, but with the RTX 30 series, that's definitely not the case, therefore attracting a lot more attention than they usually would. Another reason why they were so desired, especially here in the Canadian market, was because the RTX 3080 was listed on Nvidia's Canadian site for $899, which is actually a little bit cheaper than the announced MSRP, and is also quite a bit cheaper than the AIB cards that were listed for around $1,000 to $1,100. So, Founders Edition cards can really be only purchased from two places: directly from Nvidia through their website or through Best Buy's US website. Here in Canada, our Best Buy only carried the AIB models, but I'll get to the partners in just a moment. It was confirmed over on Reddit by Nvidia's community manager, NV_Tim, that the exact time of sale would be 6 AM Pacific or 9 AM Eastern. As we approached 9 AM, I had hopped onto my computer an hour prior to sales going live, mashing the F5 button on my keyboard like a madman. Just kidding, there's extensions you can get for your web browser that will automatically refresh the page for you at a set frequency. And as we approached close to 9 AM, the anxiety was through the roof. And there was a lot of hype surrounding this sale, as most of the online tech forums and sales forums I was browsing, thousands of people were actively doing the same. Once 9 AM struck though, within mere seconds the card was listed out of stock. What an absolute disaster that was. It definitely made a lot of people question, were the cards even in stock to begin with? How do you hype up one of the biggest hardware launches this past decade and then end up leaving so many consumers hanging? I was just astonished, but it seemed as though there was just no chance of me getting one of these Founders Edition cards directly from Nvidia, and that was a shame because I really did like the look of it and for once was very interested in the Founders Edition models. Now, what's really sad about Nvidia's website and what pissed me off the most is that their actual storefront has to be set up by a high school intern just learning coding, because there's a group of scum that's going around social media, and I won't post any of their tweets here, but they're going around bragging about how they managed to use bots and get RTX 3080 Founders Edition models from Nvidia's websites, and they managed to get multiple cards under the same account, which makes no sense because you would think with a big launch like this, there would be a one per person limit or something. The fact that Nvidia, who are, one of the biggest semiconductor companies in the business, couldn't find a way to prevent this or stop bots is just laughable. Now, Nvidia's website obviously isn't the only place where you can expect to find an RTX 3080 graphics card. You've also got their partnered retailers, whether that's other online retailers like Amazon or local brick-and-mortar hardware stores. Let's talk about the latter, because prior to today, I was honestly considering lining up at one of my local hardware stores to see if I could snag a RTX 3080 physically. And, at a physical location, you don't have to worry about online scalping bots. However, here in Canada, it seems as though we literally only had like maybe 10 or 20 3080s sent across the country. Like, I'm not even exaggerating here because that's really what it feels like. Canada Computers is our biggest computer parts retailer that you can physically go in order to pick up parts. This past weekend, I had even talked to one of the managers at one of the biggest stores here in the Greater Toronto area, and what they told me was that they're not taking pre-orders. Sales will be set up on a first come first serve basis, but they would have stock. Little did we know that when they meant they would have stock, they actually meant literally a handful. But yesterday night, I was contemplating on heading there at around midnight. Thought, you know what? I really want this card. I'd really love to showcase it on my channel and do a whole bunch of testing with it, because I have so many different types of benchmarks and topics I want to tackle surrounding the RTX 3080. But again, if I don't have it, I can't do any of that and can really only go and comment on other reviewers' results. Well, as it just so happened, I got a text from a friend who was in the area who told me, you know what, don't even bother. There's already like 5 guys here. Where the first guy camped out at the store since 9 p.m. last night. You know, I thought I was a sucker for considering lining up at midnight, but there were dudes already out there since late evening. And what's also funny was that this particular store only had a total of 3 3080s in stock that morning, where they had to end up turning away the rest of the crowd that showed up as the hours went by. And this wasn't just one Canada computer store. There were other stores that only had 1 or 2 in stock, and some stores didn't even get stock at all. So that sucked. I couldn't even walk into one of my local hardware stores in hopes of being able to find an RTX 3080 on launch day, which was just really frustrating. Now, what about other online retailers like Newegg, Amazon, and Best Buy? Surely somebody must have had a strong supply of graphics cards in their inventory. Well, their situation was practically the same as what had happened with Nvidia's. It didn't seem like they had stock, or if they did, it was very small, which probably got picked up by bots again, because within seconds the cards were sold out. Doesn't matter which model you were looking for, whether it was from ASUS, EVGA, MSI, etc., it doesn't matter because they were nowhere to be found. Actually, now that I even remember correctly, Newegg's and Canada Computer's website both had crashed at 9 a.m., which was ridiculous, and you know, that actually just tells you just how much traffic they were getting in at their site. Like, even if you had gotten the option to put an item in your cart, it wouldn't even allow you to proceed after that. You can currently go on one of these websites and find the status updates listing the models out of stock and currently unavailable, and that you can sign up with email notifications, but I'll tell you this right now, there's going to be no point in doing that, as you'll have bots and people who are constantly getting their pages refreshed in hopes of buying one. So by the time you get that notification email, it'll be long gone. For me, I never managed to get a single confirmed order for an RTX 3080 graphics card. I did, however, manage to get 2 possible orders in from Amazon yesterday when they had mistakenly put up pages for a couple of their graphics cards on the Canadian website. I do also have 2 other sources I'm trying to work with in order to obtain a graphics card, because like I said, I want to be able to show you guys some actual testing content and, you know, not just keep making videos surrounding theories, rumors, and leaks and whatnot. If I can't go through the usual channels of distribution, then if I have to go through some other means in order to possibly get one of these new GPUs, then, you know, I'm really hoping they can pull through for me. That's actually how I was even able to get an R9 3900X here in Canada around launch last year. It was actually the same scenario, really. Most stores had gotten a handful initially at launch, and that was it. You couldn't find one for months. And I'm really hoping that's not the case. You know, one of the things I'll mention about being a smaller content creator in the tech space is that unless you can buy the cards right at launch, then you won't be able to do any of your own testing and produce content surrounding your own benchmarks, because you just can't get the hardware in time. Unless you can get a review sample sent to you by Nvidia themselves or an AIB partner, I'm just in the same boat as the rest of you guys. This whole launch has just been an utter mess, and you know, it's stuff like this is why you have people also push conspiracy theories like this was all planned by Nvidia, that they had artificially created this shortage in order to keep all prospective buyers constantly on the edge of their seats and FOMO into buying a new GPU, so that demand could be pumped up insanely and thus push prices higher, way higher than relative to MSRP. Now, whether that's true or not really is a topic for a different video, but what is evident right now is that supply for the RTX 3080s is completely garbage. And I don't know exactly why that could be, but we have heard from a few sources that Samsung's 8nm process really isn't all that great. They're running at about 80% yield rate, which isn't horrible, but it's not great either. And it just baffles me that you hype up such a huge launch and you wouldn't account of how poor of a reception this would be. Or not, because, you know, you're going to cost people the FOMO, who knows. Oh, and the cherry on top, Just go on eBay and take a look at all the scalped listings. This is just absolutely despicable. There are people who are putting up listings for the RTX 3080s way above where they should be. $2,000, $5,000, heck, I even saw one for $40,000. They're going on websites like eBay and artificially inflating these prices, and this just ruins the market for everyone. Like I said, the situation was already bad enough with bad yields, but this is taking a bad situation and just making it even shittier, which is just absolutely absurd. Please do not go on eBay and purchase a card from these scalpers. So hey, Radeon, if there was a good as time as any, now would be the best time to hashtag make some noise. Because I gotta tell you, there are thousands of disgruntled PC gamers who were looking to pick up a new RTX 3080 graphics card, and now won't be able to do so for who knows exactly how long. What a shit show of a launch this has been from Nvidia. Thank you.